Hi guys, so welcome to this week's chart review. We'll dive directly into the chart review. So the first stock is RANHILL. Generally, RANHILL is not looking that good. The sell down here has been quite fierce, but you can see that the volume has kind of settled down over here. It's no longer so fierce like before. If you look at the selling volumes over here, it's been on a decreasing trend now. So it may have actually found bottom. Coincidentally, this also happens to, if this becomes a new low lah, okay, a new base, it also happens to be a higher low within this long channel lah, okay. So you will need to let the stock decide lah whether it's going to break down from the channel, on the uprising channel, or it's going to rebound and stay within the channel lah, okay. I think the only new thing here is the support will now be about this zone lah. Okay. Other than that, I think you will have to depend on the current market sentiment, which is not very good. Okay. Next, PTRB. PTRB, like I mentioned before, in terms of long term, is actually considered uptrend because you see here is one, here is another higher low, and most likely if this becomes a low, then yes, there's another higher low. But if you look at it in the short term wise, it's actually not so bullish lah. Okay, it's kind of still within a downtrend. It hasn't formed a new higher high. It's still forming lower lows along the way. Okay, but if let's say this candle is considered as like the stock has bottomed, then most likely it will try to rebound now. But it's still currently within a downtrend channel. This is a very low volume and subsequently rallied actually not on very high volume as well, so that's something to be cautious of lah. Okay, so the subsequent rally, since it has kind of found bottom, the volume hasn't been that high, you will need to be cautious. 50 days is actually kind of, there's not a fixed direction lah. Okay, it's more of like a random. 50 days is in between these two, and 200 days is still above. Also, I would believe it's quite bearish lah. Okay, for PTRB. In terms of support and resistance, I think this will be the new support lah that it has found if it becomes a new bottom lah. Okay, now SEALINK. Generally, SEALINK is still uptrending. Okay, I don't think there's any changes in terms of the support and resistance. I think it's still exactly the same. 150 days moving average just crossed over the 200 days moving average, which may symbolize bullishness. But the recent candles will have to settle down a bit in volume to actually form a base before it can continue rallying higher. Okay, but as of now, until it breaks out, the support and resistance stays the same for this stock lah. Okay, next will be CloudPoint. CloudPoint, I think this level was a very high resistance zone. Okay, actually you can see there's already some quite some heavy selling over here lah. Okay, even from this candle after the earnings report was posted, and it kind of seems to be in a kind of sideways trend at the moment, similar to what it was facing previously. Okay, the support and resistance has no changes for this stock. You will need to see whether it's able to break out or not lah. Okay, but coming from here right up to here is about a 15% correction already, and it's already resting on the previous support, which is at 0.58. So you will need to see whether the support is able to hold or not lah. Okay, but the volume on recent days has been quite thin, which is a good thing to see lah. Okay, day 3. I believe the stock may have actually bottomed. I also featured day 3 inside one of my case studies, because day 3 has been able to form quite a silent base over here. Okay, that means quite quiet one, not much of a trading activity lah. Okay, so if we look at the stock from the day of IPO, it has been sold down. We removed the first day of IPO because the volume is enormous on the first day, and we see it after that. Since that day, the volume has kind of settled down here, and then there's a high buying volume here, which I think a lot of people would have assumed maybe they would have bottomed. I think there was someone who asked for a case review here as well. Okay, a chart review, but subsequently it continued selling down until it formed this hammer over here. So I believe this hammer may have indicated finally there's a reversal coming. Okay, and then since then it has kind of been sideways here, but you notice that the sideways here from this candle onwards, the volume has been relatively low lah. Okay, you see this is like 5.9 million, and the day before is about 19.9 million, which is almost 4 times the size. Okay, so it has been quite quiet, and recently during the past 3 days you can see that volume has started coming in. This is about 5.8, 5.5, and this is about 13.6, so this is the highest one lah. So this candle actually represents the breakout from this level of 0.365. okay, so if you look at it as a whole, you zoom out, you look at it, it looks more like it's attempting to come down here, build a base and go back up. Okay, but whether it's able to go back up or not will depend whether it's able to break this resistance level lah. Okay, so currently you have a new resistance level which is here. Okay, if it's not, then most likely it's just another formation of a lower low and a lower high lah. Okay, because since this lower high there hasn't been a new lower high. Okay, so it will depend on that. You will just need to give the stock some patience lah. Okay, next is SKBSHUT. I think the stock is quite hot. Generally, if you look at it on a longer time frame scale, it's actually still on an uptrend basis lah. Okay, the stock actually came down and rebounded at the 50 days moving average before attempting to rally even higher. Okay, but you need to look, one is you need to look at this downtrend line, okay, which it has to break. If it breaks through, then most likely yes lah, it will resume its trend, and this was just a pullback, but this pullback is actually quite immense lah. It's about 30%. Okay, this buying volume looks to be quite strong, high volume over here, and subsequent days the volume hasn't been that high, even though it's still climbing higher. Okay, so when you climb like this, there is some follow through volume, but it will be better if the volume was higher lah. Okay, so one, you need to take care, you need to be aware of this downtrend line, and also of course look at this 50 days moving average lah. Okay, it kind of rebounded over there. I think if you switch the moving average to EMA, exponential one, you will see that it will hit lah. Okay, other than that, I think the stock is doing fine lah. Okay, you just need to monitor and see, and also be patient now, of course. Okay, so next, MNG. Like I mentioned before, MNG generally is still in an uptrend. You can see it's forming higher low and higher highs along the way, but despite this small higher high of higher low of 1 beat, I think it's generally in a sideways trend until it decides to break out lah. Okay, Friday's volume and also Thursday's volume have been not bad, quite high, but you need to take note that for Friday's volume, half of it is actually sellers lah, 2.65 to 2.25. So basically the stock went up and came back down close at midway point. So if let's say you have 10 million volume, you should consider that there's a possibility of about 5 million are actually sellers. This is just a rough estimate, it's not accurate one, okay, but it's just a rough idea for you lah. Okay, but if you are looking about trend, yes, it's uptrend, and also the support resistance has not changed lah from the previous one. Okay, next is EATECH. So if you look at EATECH's chart, it's actually not bad. Okay, since the breakout over here from a 0.28, it rallied higher, and then you can see it form a resistance over here at 0.35. Okay, so when it formed a resistance over here, it decided to pull back the next day on low volume, and the following day on high volume actually. But if you really look back, this high volume is because it actually attempted to challenge back the resistance of 0.35. Okay, so we can go back and see, this is Monday, 23rd of October. We see over here. Just a moment. Monday, 23rd October. Okay, over here, if you see, actually the high volume came from 9:30, this candle, where it actually attempted to break out from 0.35, and subsequently all the volumes were lower than this, although this was quite scary lah. Okay, so I believe the high volume came from the heavy resistance sellers at about 0.35, which I believe would be the new resistance level lah. Okay, and then on Friday, actually the volume is not bad, quite good, but it is quite good lah. Okay, it's about 5 times the previous day and about 3 times the day before, and it's resting at the resistance now lah. So you will have to see what happens on Monday. Support and resistance, I think, remains the same. Your resistance will be at 0.35. Maybe we can consider that as a new one. Okay, 0.35 over here. While this one most likely will become your new support lah. Okay, and the rest, I think it's quite far lah. It won't be so valid anymore. Okay. Okay, next is CYPARK. CYPARK generally I think it's good. Okay, another stock like SKBSHUT rebounded from the 50 days moving average and attempting to rally higher, although now it's currently in sideways. You need to consider the fact that CYPARK came out from an inverse head and shoulders and actually rallied about 30%, almost 30%, 20% since this rally over here. Okay, it definitely will be some form of pullback to come back down. Okay, there will be people definitely taking profit, and the sell down here was quite immense lah. Okay, to actually pull it down back here within about 2 weeks. Okay, so you need to give the stock some time to actually stabilize, digest the sellers, you know, have some equilibrium, so that when it forms a base, then it will be able to break out higher lah. Okay, so the stock needs some time, but generally for me I think it's good. I think it's uptrending. Okay, the 200 days moving average is above the 150, not so good, but the 150 is above lah. Okay, generally the moving averages are not bad. Okay, so I think CYPARK is still uptrend. In terms of support and resistance, I think there is quite some form of quite heavy resistance over at this zone. Okay, and then of course your higher zone lah, which will be about 1.1. okay, coincidentally previously also there's some form of resistance at 1.1 to 1.12. okay, so support and resistance does not necessarily need to be one line, it can be a zone lah of the area. Okay, again I'm not so sure BABA is the Hong Kong or the US one, so I'll just include both. So in terms of long term, I think it's still within this triangle, and it actually broke down a bit here lah. Okay, and then short term wise, it's also not doing that well lah, to be honest. Okay, let me hide the MAs first. Okay, this is more like a sideways trend over here, and then this level is actually near to the previous low level lah. Okay, for me generally I don't think it looks good, and I don't think generally all indexes including the Hong Kong and also US market is good lah. Okay, one point to take note is quarter report is coming out soon, which of course I don't know whether it will be good or not, but if you look at here, I think if you take this and you pull it up, the trend is generally down lah. Okay, it doesn't look good, but it has challenged. If let's say this is a true trend line, it has actually challenged it for about 4 times now, almost lah. Okay, and the more times it challenges, the higher chance there is to actually break out from it. Okay, but the downtrend line is also equally quite challenged quite a few times lah. Okay, I don't think the chart is looking good. Okay, yeah, I don't think the chart is looking good lah. Okay, for the Hong Kong side, I think it's quite similar also, the chart, not much of differences. It also broke down from that triangle downtrend, but then managed to close above for the week lah. Okay, so if you look at the week, it closed down last week, and then this week it closed back above lah. But I don't think it's good as well lah. Even though you see this is like a slight higher low over here, but it still looks quite bearish lah. I think this downtrend line is also quite valid. Okay, it has hit quite a few times. It may just challenge back again lah. Okay, but general trend is still downtrend, and also quarter report is coming out lah, so need to be a bit cautious. Okay, JD, I think this one is outright bad lah. Okay, for a stock to have to form 52-week low, and this is like I think almost going to form all-time low, I think it's not good lah, and it's about the IPO price already lah of $20. I don't think JD is doing good at all lah. Okay, if we look at one trend line over here, this is not really a valid trend line lah, because it's supposed to hit at least 3 times, but roughly you get the picture lah, it's still going down. And then you see actually this support is quite strong lah. This support over here, which it formed kind of like a hammer, is actually quite strong, but it still broke down and continued lower. From this most recent low, it has already gone about 30%. It doesn't look good lah. Okay, MYEG, okay, let me delete this. Okay, MYEG actually had quite a nice pattern previously. You can see here is like one cup, and then here is like attempting to form a handle, but unfortunately it kind of didn't materialize lah. Okay, the next day came out with one almost like a bearish engulfing candle, okay, pushing the stock down, and currently it is quite near its support already lah. Okay, this candle is huge, it's a big price action candle. Volume is also considerably high. Okay, there seems to be quite a heavy selling resistance over here at 0.835 to 0.85, and the chart doesn't look so good. Okay, besides that, it's generally in a sideways trend lah. Okay, nothing much to observe until it decides to break out or break down. Okay, next YTL. Let's just delete all the drawings first. Okay, YTL is something like this lah. Okay, I don't think it's as bullish as it was before. I think together with YTL Power, I don't think they're as bullish as before lah. Okay, but as usual, YTL Power tends to move faster than YTL. Okay, so for YTL, I believe that it has not proved itself that it has found a bottom. Okay, it's kind of like you know, like stocks usually they move in zigzag. This is what is happening lah. So there is a chance that it will go down, or of course there is a chance that it will come here and attempt to break through. Okay, that's something only the market knows lah, and the market dictates. So in terms of support and resistance, I think this will be its new support of about 1.24. Okay, and in terms of resistance, I think it has to break out from this one first, 1.52, before it actually manages to go anywhere higher lah. Okay, and of course the ultimate resistance will be somewhere here lah, 1.71. Okay, now TECHBND. I think since the last request to review this chart, I don't think there has been any differences. All the support and resistance are still in place. It hasn't really broken out of any support or resistance except this one over here, which I think it already is kind of hovering around there lah. Okay, the final support will be at 0.4. This one is like a form support. This 0.435 was like an attempting to form support. Okay, so other than that, I don't think there's much differences in TECHBND lah. Okay, next will be SAMCHEM. For SAMCHEM, I think it's not looking good. Okay, personally, I don't think it's looking good. 0.51 support was a strong support, and it didn't manage to hold lah. Okay, many times it attempted, but at the end of the day, it broke down. Okay, so it's kind of coming down, and then this one high volume, so it doesn't look good lah. Okay, SAMCHEM has already formed 52-week low already, new 52-week low. Of course, it hasn't reached the COVID low yet, but generally the trend don't look that good lah for SAMCHEM now. Okay, ADVENTA. This is a glove counter, if I'm not wrong. Let me just go and check it out. Okay, I can't really find it in glove, but I think it was classified together with gloves. Okay, putting that aside, ADVENTA had an extremely high volume coming in on Friday. The only counter which actually during COVID time is actually going up. Okay, and it's actually not in tandem with the rest lah. Okay, I'm not really sure whether it deals with gloves or not, but it's definitely in healthcare side lah. Okay, so this high volume for me doesn't really mean anything yet. Okay, for you to have something that is if you want to have something that's like confirm, like you know, you want to have like a uptrend or kind of things, you must have a follow through. Okay, that means it cannot only happen on one day, there must be follow throughs. Okay, so for now ADVENTA is only 1 day of volume, and there is no follow through yet. You will need to wait next week to see how it works, how it is. Okay, to actually know whether, you know, this is like a confirm bottom reversal coming up back or stuff like that. Okay, so for ADVENTA, I think you have to keep it on hold first. Of course, this will be your support. Okay, and then most likely your resistance is actually here lah. Sorry, here. Okay, because this happens to be the previous support. Okay, so give it some time first lah. Okay, IWCITY, I think it's related to Johor team lah. Okay, I think most of the Johor counters which are in Johor, related to Johor, are basically going up lah on Friday. Sorry, on Thursday and Friday. Generally because I think Johor Sultan is going to become the next Agong. Okay, so I think that is one of the main reasons why these counters have been going up, and IWCITY is not the only one lah. Okay, so generally if you look at IWCITY, it's still in a downtrend lah. Okay, it's still in a downtrend, and this is currently more like waves in the downtrend lah. Okay, you see it's something like this. Okay, so of course it can attempt to re-challenge back the downtrend line and then break out, or of course it can reach here and then just continue going lower lah. Okay, it depends on whether this is actually a true bottom or not. Okay, for your support and resistance, this will be your new support at 565, and so your resistance will be somewhere here lah. Okay, 73 lah. Okay. Hexstar Industries, I don't think there's anything much to review. I think someone requested before as well. There's basically nothing much to see in this chart now. Okay, it's just continuously going down, finding new 52-week lows and continue going down lah. Okay, doesn't really look that good. The support and resistance I think stays the same, just adding a support at about 0.37 lah. Okay. Next is SFPTECH. Okay, this one kind of got follow through already. You see actually it kind of like found some bottom over here with quite low volume, and subsequently 3 days of quite high volume, even though the second day high volume but not much of price action, candle movement lah. Okay, so usually stocks like these, they when they break out, they actually break out, then they come back to retest and find a base. Okay, and I think SFPTECH hasn't formed it yet lah. Okay, whether it's out of the woods or not in terms of downtrend, I think it's quite difficult to say, because it's like on Friday one candle only lah. Okay, you have to see whether it comes back down, retest back the previous resistance to turn into a new support, or how it decides to be lah. Okay, but in terms of finding base, there is a possibility that it has bottomed and is starting to rally up lah, based on the price action and also the volume coming in. Okay. Okay, so the next stock, EFRAME. For EFRAME, generally is in an uptrend. Okay, if you look at it, it will be something like this. Okay, I don't think it has really broken out yet. It's kind of forming higher lows along the way. This is one low, then this is another higher low. But in terms of breaking, I think it still hasn't. Okay, I think the resistance is about this level. So for it to continue, we must break out from the resistance first. This one I see quarter report revenue rises fiscal Q4, so maybe it's a good news because I see quite high volume coming in here. Okay, but you will have to break out from this level first before it can continue. Okay, other than that, I think most of the day's volume is quite dry, so you need to know what you're doing lah. Okay. SCIB, I think same, support and resistance hasn't really changed since the last review. Okay, I think it's still generally quite same lah. Okay, for the support and resistance, volume is quite same lah throughout all the trading days. Okay, not much of differences. SCGBHD, I think it's quite same. For SCGBHD, not much of differences. It's still within the same levels. Rebounded from 50 days moving average, and I think this is kind of like the bull and bear fight zone lah. Okay, it actually attempted to break out from the previous or the most recent resistance, but didn't really succeed lah. So it came back to close at the previous resistance level. Okay, you will need to see what happens next week lah. But the volume is strong lah. It's really very high. Okay, so something to look out for. Okay, next will be MTAG. I don't think there's much of a trend in MTAG. It's generally just sideways. Support and resistance remains the same from the previous one now. Okay, don't think there's any much changes over here. So you will just need to wait lah until the stock decides to make a move. Okay, currently it's still sideways on the upper box. Okay, PARKSON PARKSON doesn't really look that good anymore. Previously I think it was still in an uptrend, quite solid. But I think the candles from last week actually broke down from the 50 days moving average, and this candle down is actually on quite a drastic volume lah. Okay, one need to be a bit cautious. And this one was a previous support level 0.285. Currently I think it's going to turn into a new support zone lah. Okay, it's going to turn back into a resistance area. I think previously it became a support over here, as you can see, then it rallied, then it came back down. Now it's already below line, and you can see it's kind of difficult for it to go above here. So this level will now become a new resistance area. Okay, so generally the trend doesn't look so uptrend anymore lah. Okay, already breached from the uptrend line. INARI. Okay, INARI was touted to actually be one of the very strong stocks because I think of a relationship with 5G. But I think so far it hasn't really materialized lah. Okay, the huge rally from here up until here was really something to look at. The rally from about May until July, but since then I think the stock has kind of slowed down lah. Okay, having some heavy resistance at about 3.2, it didn't manage to break and kind of form a double top over here, and then subsequently started tumbling down lah. Okay, it's also not able to break out from this zone over here. Okay, there seems to be quite a lot of resistance over here where it was previously a support zone lah. Okay, it's currently trading below 50 days moving average, which is not something very bullish to have. And recent day candles has been quite bad lah. Friday's candle you can see is with quite high volume, something for you to take note of. I think in terms of support and resistance, this previous support level 2.94 to 2.98 will be a new resistance level for the stock, and the support level will probably be about here lah, 2.77 zone. Okay, TTVHB is no longer looking good since the breakdown from this support over here. So like I mentioned previously, the stock actually rallied from this support over here up until here, and then started hovering about this zone, the support zone of 1.18, and actually crashed. Okay, what I mean by crash is it didn't drop like 50-60% lah, but it just breached through that support over there. Okay, and then continue going down. So it's currently near its 52-week low lah. Of course, the stock just came out early this year, so it doesn't have a 52-week low. But if you look at the 52-week low, you'll be definitely here lah, 0.94, and it's already at 1.01. Okay, not looking good lah for TTVHB. I don't think it's in an uptrend at the moment. Okay, SMRT, I think this stock is good. It's able to actually continue going higher despite the market conditions lah. Of course, SMRT is also in one of my case studies, if I'm not wrong, for this week. For next week, and you can actually go over there to watch as well. Of course, if you follow my channel, then it will automatically update you once I upload a new video lah. Okay, so if you look at these 2 points, this was the previous resistance, and currently it actually made the previous resistance into a new support. Okay, but although it actually went slightly lower, which is to about this zone, okay, 0.875, but you can see that it never did close below this level lah. Okay, which is something very good to have. So it's likely that it will consider the previous resistance as a new support and attempt to rally higher. Okay, recent days volume have been quite thin. It's been drying out since the high volume candle over here lah. Okay, kind of drying out, so it's something good to see. Okay, SMRT generally is still uptrending. All three moving averages are above each other lah. The lighter ones above the heavier ones, which is something very good to have lah. Okay. Okay, BJFOOD. I think this is another counter which is related to the Johor team. How much it's related, I am not sure, but the volume definitely did come in on Friday. Okay, so I think it's it kind of formed like a double bottom over here. Because you can see that it's something like this, and then came back down. Okay, so how high it rallies, I'm not so sure. General trend is not looking that good lah. Okay, if you look at the trend line over here until here, then you can see it's definitely going down. That is kind of like found bottom and attempting to rally higher. Okay, you will need to see whether there are any follow through days or not next to confirm and see whether it's definitely good. There is definitely a trend reversal lah. Okay, if not, then most likely it will form a lower high before it continues to go lower lah. Okay, MBRIGHT. MBRIGHT is facing some heavy resistance at about 0.265 level, okay, and it has attempted to break through many days. Now it's actually a time for you to see whether it will be able to break through or not. If it doesn't, then of course it will come back down. I think that's quite common. But currently it's consolidating about this area. If let's say the stock, okay, usually when it comes here, then it attempts many days and it's not able to break, usually what happens is they go for a pullback, okay, because they have to wash out the weak retailers which keep attempting to sell over there to actually attempt to go higher, okay. So that's what I see on MBRIGHT. The volume actually has been quite erratic compared to how it was previously, okay. If you see previous volumes hasn't been as high as how it is today. Okay, here is like 35 million. Even previous very high candle here is also 32 million only of volume, and you see it's a huge candle, where else here is 30 over million and it's only 2 bits. So of course there is a possibility that there is some form of distribution over here lah. Okay, so you just need to take note lah. But the support and resistance for this counter, I believe, remains the same. Okay. Okay, FP group is also in one of my case studies. For more information, you can go over there and look it out. Look it up. Generally, I think there may be a trend reversal over here lah. Okay, 50 days is actually moving up, penetrating through the 150, and of course, if it continues going higher, then the 150 also will continue to, will start to change. The direction is going towards uptrend, and it will sooner or later penetrate the 200 days lah. Then you will have the lighter moving averages above the heavier moving averages. Okay, in terms of volume, I think there's a very high volume coming in the past few days. Okay, Monday you can see there's a very high volume already, and then it came back to retest the resistance area here. Okay, and then form a support and then continue rallying higher. So on Friday you can see it came down to retest the previous resistance area of here, and then after that closed back at the opening price lah. Okay, which seems to be quite bullish to me. So we'll have to see whether there's still follow through days or not, and if it does, then of course there's confirm a trend reversal lah for FP group. Okay, SCGBHD, I don't think it's good. It's obviously going to challenge the 52-week low soon. Okay, this was the previous 52-week low, which is June 2022. If it's June 2022, means SCGBHD has already reached the 52-week low lah. Okay, so it doesn't look good lah. Any stocks that's forming 52-week low is actually not good. Okay, so for SCGBHD, I think it's not able to break the downtrend line. All moving averages are opposite of what is supposed to be for an uptrend lah. Okay, so generally I don't think there is a strong trend over here. In terms of support and resistance, I think all stays the same, except we will add one support over here, which is 0.335, which is already hit lah. Okay, JTIASA plantation counter, okay, if you look at it in this way, I don't think it's looking good lah. Okay, you see here the trend line over here is forming lower highs, and here also you see is forming lower lows lah. Okay, generally I don't really like when a counter forms like this. Of course the volume is pretty low. Okay, considered to how it was before, volume is quite dry lah. Okay, but you need to know, you need to understand that the dry volume is also involved in when the stock is climbing higher. Okay, if you want to have a very good bullish stock, it should be when it goes down the volume is low, and when it goes up the volume is high. Okay, which indicates that when it goes down there's not much of people selling, and when it goes up there are more people buying lah. Okay, basic supply and demand kind of theory. Okay, so generally this one is like down volume is slightly higher and up volume is quite low lah. Not something good to have. Okay, next is EWINT. EWINT I think will follow the other property and construction counters. I think it will take some time lah before it can reach back up because of the dividend adjustment. Okay, if you look at the stock, I think it's really just sideways lah. There's really nothing much to look at it lah for now. Okay, until it can actually decide to come up or go down, then only you will have a definite trend lah. Okay, I think previously I did mention that it looks like it wants to break out from this candle because of the high volume, but then subsequently it didn't lah. It just came back down on this high volume instead. So at the moment I think it's just sideways lah. Okay, YLI holdings, I don't think there's much to review here, to be honest. It's really just sideways and really barcode lah from here. Okay, there are days where there's literally no trading volume at all, zero. Look at this, zero trading volume. This kind of counter quite hard to do anything lah. Okay, I will just draw the support and resistance levels for you. I think this is definitely one of the resistance, this. Okay, and the support should be somewhere here lah, the first one. Okay, yeah, other than that, I don't know, I don't think there's much volume or anyone trading this counter. Okay, AZRB, previously there was this triangle which was forming and then it managed to break out. So obviously, if you look at this breakout over here, it's a fake breakout lah. Okay, one day breakout, the next day it will wash you down nicely, and from then it actually attempted to re-challenge the triangle, failed, and then now it's a heavy washout. So currently it's standing above the 200 days moving average, which is a long-term moving average last, just standing right above. I think for me, I think the chart is quite bearish lah at the moment. Okay, until and unless it can prove a trend reversal is imminent, I think it's still quite bearish lah. Okay, in terms of support, I think it will be somewhere at 0.185. Okay, which may be the new support it formed lah. Okay, but you need to know that the stock price, current price, is still quite near the 52-week. Quite near this 200 days moving average level. Okay, you need to be a bit cautious lah to see what happens in the market. Anyway, general market sentiment is quite bad lah. This one, construction counter. I am not so sure whether construction trend is still there or not. Okay, but looking at this chart, I see it's forming lower highs and also lower lows lah. Okay, I think when this candle came out on Thursday, I think it already broke the most recent support here lah. Okay, so obviously your next support will be somewhere around here. Okay, and if let's say this holds as a support, then of course this will be your new higher support lah. But if not, then your support will be the previous base form, which is about 0.335 lah. Okay, it all depends whether the construction theme is still on or not. If there is a construction theme, then it will definitely continue going higher lah. And if there isn't, then you will need to wait lah. Okay, when the construction theme comes back. Similar to this counter, ECONBHD, I think it also waits for construction theme lah. Okay, it's resting on 50 days, so it's definitely, in terms of chart wise, I think it's better than Gabungan EQRS. Okay, because that one already reached 200 days if I'm not wrong. Oh no, sorry, it's almost reaching lah. This one is still quite far, okay, comparatively. So I think you will need to see whether the construction theme is there or not lah. Okay. Same for UAMS. This one comparatively, I think the chart is even better compared to ECONBHD and also Gabungan EQRS. But again, I think it will depend very much on the construction theme whether it's still there or not. And I think UAMS is, I think, also related to the Johor side's construction. So you will need to monitor news on that side as well. If let's say construction side on Johor side continues, then most likely the news will stimulate UAMS to go higher. But at the moment, by looking at the chart, it's quite obvious that it's still in a downtrend manner lah. There is no higher high form. Okay, it's all lower high and lower lows. Okay. Acme, I think it was quite hot when there was very strong buying. Okay, but okay, you look at this candle, it's very high volume lah. It's about 36 million, but your body is only this big, so there was it pushed up to here and then it got pushed back down to very low level, which is not a good thing to have lah. So from here you know that there is quite a lot of resistance up ahead. Okay, and the stock continued rallying and then coming back down. Okay, so when it came back down here, it is already quite near its previous support of 0.235, which don't look so good anymore lah. Okay, generally I think if it breaks down from this support of 0.235, then the trend is no longer uptrend lah. Okay, it will be like a sideways, which currently already looks like it's approaching there. It will be like a sideways and then it may move downtrend lah. Okay, S metric, No, I don't think it's in an uptrend anymore. It looks more like sideways now, attempting to go downtrend lah. Okay, so where you see this is uptrend, then this is like sideways, and then it seems like it's coming down lah. Okay, in terms of stage analysis, I think this is a mini stage 2, stage 3, and then stage 4. Okay, but one thing to take note is the volume is coming down. Even though this buying volume, the selling volume is higher, then this one is slightly lower lah. Okay, you need to monitor and see if it forms a new base. It looks like it's trying to make this a new base lah. Okay, it looks like but it's not a confirm one yet, so you need to give the stock some time lah. Okay, for S metric, and you need to take note that it's a very penny stock. Okay, it's only about 13 cents. Then yeah, 13 cents. Okay, DSS, this is a packaging counter company. I think recently the volume has been quite good. It's for me, generally it's in an uptrend lah. Okay, it's still generally in an uptrend. Just hide the moving averages. Yeah, I think generally it's still in an uptrend, but whether it goes up or not, I think will depend very much on the market sentiment lah. Okay, support and resistance has not changed. I think it's quite similar. Okay, the support and resistance levels, and it actually gapped down and then it went back above the 50 days moving average, so not bad lah. Okay, currently this, if you look at it, this is like a sideways trend, and then it actually went up again, but there's quite a lot of sellers on Friday lah. You need to monitor and see which direction it goes next week. Okay, FSBM, I followed this stock before. I think it was also in one of my case studies before. Not bad. But one thing you need to take note is that volume is quite erratic now. Okay, if you really look at like 1 hour, or if the person who asked for this counter, you follow the stock. I think you follow lah. That's why you asked me to review kan. The volume, the price actually jumps very fast. Okay, like all of a sudden it goes up and all of a sudden it goes down. There is a possibility of a selling climax lah. Possible only. Okay, so this one looks like it went up a lot, then came back down, so there is already a lot of resistance over here. And then if you look at this one, okay, we just take these levels. Okay, so far he has never closed above this level lah. Okay, above 395. Through this he has closed at 395 and one day at 39 lah. Okay, you need to be cautious to see whether it's already a selling climax or not. Okay, but there's definitely some selling pressure over here lah at the top part. Okay, that's what you need to take note of. In terms of support and resistance, the problem with stocks that go parabolic is you can't really find a support and resistance level lah. Okay, to look at. Okay, you can consider this as a support 0.305, but it was only a support on a daily candle for one day, so I don't think it's a solid one lah. And then here I think it's quite erratic lah, to go down, up, and then close here. So I don't think any of them will represent a strong support level. Okay, so you see like this one, okay lah, not bad, quite dry here. This one, if you really want, then yeah, it will be about 0.365 lah. Okay, but the volume has been quite erratic as far as I know lah. Okay, I think if we see 5-minute candle, yeah, because you look 5 minute, you know, it pushed up from here until here, and then in a few minutes after that, it actually came back down already. So for me, it looks quite erratic lah. So not something nice to have. Okay. Next is PTRB, coming back down to its previous resistance level lah, which may have turned into a support, but currently still hovering around there. I don't think there's a definite trend yet. It looks like it's coming back, maybe attempting to test the 50 days moving average and also the previous resistance area lah. Okay. Generally it's still in an uptrend. Even if you draw a trend line here, you will see it's still up lah. Okay, actually ngam hit the lower trend line also. Uptrend line. And in this thing lah, it looks like not bad lah. Okay, but you need to take note on the volume of selling over here. Okay, the volume has been quite high. Okay, so you need to monitor lah. I don't know what to review on this counter. This selling days was too extreme lah. Okay, Okay, the problem with this kind of counter is when it sells down, it's quite scary. Okay, another counter which this happen is this one lah. Okay, you see a similar pattern here actually. It goes up, it never comes down. Then all of a sudden when it comes down, it drops very huge. Okay, I think another one may be this, but I don't know this one will ever drop or not lah. Okay, so this one also something similar. It just goes up, continue, and when it drops in a very drastic manner. But this one continue going up lah. Same as this lah, PICOP. Okay, it goes up, continues going up like it's some god stock, you know, from 8 cents until 34 cents, and then when it washes down, it washes very intensively. Okay, so yeah, honestly I don't know whether I want to say it's back or not. It looks like it's attempting to break off from the resistance lah. Okay, other than that I don't have much comments for this lah. Okay, support and resistance stays the same lah. Aneka, I don't think there's much to comment here also. Okay, basically all the moving average are opposite to what is supposed to be for an uptrend. And then quarter report just came out, turns profitable, but I don't see much reaction the next day, just a gap up of 1 bit. Okay, shares flow only 169, so it's supposed to be quite easy if it wants to go up or down. But currently still in a sideways trend. I don't think there's much to see over here. In terms of support and resistance, I think this will be your support lah, 165, and your resistance will be somewhere here lah. Okay, 0.19. Okay, EcoVest, similar construction counter. There's nothing much to comment because you just need to wait for the construction team lah. If the team is there, then all other construction counters tend to move in tandem. If it isn't there, then it won't lah. Okay, your counters, construction, anyone that is related to Johor, you will have to follow the news to see whether there's any goodies lah, good news. Okay, where there's a possibility of it stimulating some projects and stuff like that. Okay, I think the main projects they are focusing is more to JB Forest City and also HSR lah. Okay, so if there are some news coming out from there, then of course it will look good. If not, then I don't think there will be a trend lah. Okay, generally EcoVest is downtrending lah. Okay, for now it's downtrending until it can find a base and actually reverse back. Okay, it's already at where it broke out from previously. Okay, Velesto. Velesto is a oil and gas company, but I think this one, yeah, giant lah, 7.53 billion shares float. Okay, quite hard to move up and also quite hard to move down lah. Okay, I think for me the trend is generally in sideways. Okay, if you actually draw another horizontal line over here, okay, you will see that it's generally in a sideways trend lah. Okay, nothing much for me to comment. In terms of moving averages, I think they're all good. They're all uptrend, and it's actually quite near the 52-week high, okay, of here. So if let's say your resistance is at 0.27 and manage to break, then the next one you'll face is about 0.285 lah. Okay. Yeah, and also of course you will need to depend on the global oil price lah. If the oil prices continue going up, then of course your oil counters will follow, and if it doesn't, then of course it won't lah. Okay. Xinhua, I can't really review much on this counter because there's basically no volume coming in. Okay, if you look at this high volume coming in over here, 6.328 million, there's only a movement of 2 bits. Okay, the next day there's only 1.8k volume. That means there's no one buying the stock at all. Okay, then the next day there's only 66k, 83k, and then here is 649k, and then again it starts 87k, 50k, 40k. Basically for me it looks more like a pump and dump lah. Okay, for a counter to have sudden high volume and then disappear again, I really believe it's a pump and dump lah. So I don't really have much to comment because I don't know the counter. This will be your support, and also of course this will be your resistance lah. It looks like it's just trading within this range. Okay, end to end again, I don't have much comment. I think I have this chart review requested quite a number of times before. There's really nothing much to see in end to end. It's really just sideways, no volume. The volume only comes in once in a while like this, 11.3 million high selling, and then it continues going down sideways. Okay, for me I don't think there's much to see here lah. Okay, I don't know whether the quarter report is going to be good or not, but the chart wise it doesn't look good lah. Okay, your support and resistance are wherever the lines are drawn lah. Okay, comma. Again, I think this is consolidation split. Okay, even with the stock split, oh yeah, consolidate. Yay, consolidated, and it's still going lower. You see hibiscus hibiscus consolidated here and actually went up. It actually gap up by it closed up near its opening price lah. Okay, this one consolidate also no effect. Okay, it shows you the stock is not doing well lah. Okay, I can't really use the old support and resistance. Wow, so bad. Okay, basically it's already at 52-week low. It's actually an all-time low, I think. No lah, not all-time lah. It's actually at a 13-year low already, comma. I don't think there's anything for me to comment now, honestly speaking. I won't be drawing any support lines, but your resistance should be somewhere here lah. Okay. Micro MB, featured in one of my case studies before. I think the problem is there hasn't been any much movement lah. Okay, since I think I saw it over here, I think. Then I did a case study. I'm not so sure whether it will break out or not. But since then until now, it has been just sideways lah. Okay, I think you will need to give some patience because it's still within that range. Okay, it's not to say it's only hitting at the support. It's also knocking the doors of the resistance. Okay, so I think you need to give some time. You need to be a bit patient to see where the stock decides to move lah. Okay, so support and resistance remains the same. Astino, I previously saw this counter and then I thought, wow, looked like a very nice come and handle formation lah, or rounding bottom. By end of the day, it failed horribly lah. Okay, the stock actually came back down and it's quite near to where the cup's support originally was. Okay, so at the moment I think it's downtrending, and then I think this quarter report came out not good. Yeah, Astino's profit drops, so there was a huge gap down over here and then continue wash out lah, continue going down. Okay, I don't think there is a trend now other than a bearish trend. Okay, support and resistance wise, I think your next support will be somewhere here lah. Okay, 0.49. Okay, ADVENTA. The chart looks quite similar to what is this? Day 3, honestly. Okay, but day 3 kind of like almost breakout lah. Okay, ADVENTA is kind of like this is definitely the resistance, and it may have actually formed a bottom over here. Okay, but so far I don't see much candles like a hammer or a bullish engulfing. Okay, maybe there is lah this. Well, it's quite low volume lah, honestly. So I think you just need to give some time to the stock to stabilize and actually find its own bottom lah. Okay, the resistance definitely 0.415. I think it's there quite long already. It hasn't really challenged back, and then the downtrend line is still present lah. Okay, so there's a possibility it will become like day 3. You will come here, then it will do some sideways before it attempts lah. Okay, you need to wash out some weak holders first before it actually attempts to go higher. Okay. Okay, AAX. Wow. AAX is generally downtrend lah. Okay, if you look at the counter from wait, let me look at the counter here. Of course, it's sideways, and then after that here is like going downwards lah. Okay, so I don't think AAX is that good. I think capital A is worse. I don't know why capital A seems to get more selling than AAX lah. Okay. So it's already hitting or testing the support of 150 days moving average and rebounded from the 150 days moving average already. And the next one, if it continues going down, then it will start testing the 200 days moving average as well. Okay, the selling volume has been quite high, honestly. Okay, compared to you see all these days, the selling volume has been much higher lah. Okay. MAG, nothing much for me to comment because I think it's still sideways despite it's challenging the resistance level of 0.21, but it's still in sideways. Your moving averages are quite intact lah. 50 days is above the 150 and 150 is above the 200. That one is quite intact. Okay. But other than that, it's still in sideways movement lah. So there's not much of changes over here. Okay. SCN wolf. This one is moving uptrend. Okay, this one is definitely moving uptrend. Okay, so you can see it's something like this lah. Quite nice, actually the chart quite nice. Okay, and then this is like actually I think I draw this with only one point, maybe a downtrend line, but I don't think it's really valid lah, to be honest. Okay, so this downtrend, then after that move high, and then it's actually standing above the resistance level now lah. Okay, so you may consider it as a breakout, but I think a breakout is confirmed if it stays above 0.54 lah. Okay, but currently definitely uptrend. Your moving averages are also quite intact. 50 days is moving above the 200 days and also already moved above the 150 days lah. Okay, so if it continues like this, then definitely it's going uptrend lah. KNM, I think this one is more news related than chart related lah. This one I think is related to the takeover by the German side for KNM. I didn't follow the news, so I can't comment much on that. Chart wise, definitely it was a big move up and then a big move down as well lah. Okay, and currently there's not much of a sellers over here, so you need to see whether this area becomes a new support level or not lah. Okay, but it's quite near the previous support level as well, and this huge candle of selling does not seem nice to me lah. Okay, for me it doesn't seem nice. Okay, so you need to be cautious. SK Press. Okay, I don't know what happened to the EMS sector. Okay, all the EMS stocks are actually quite badly damaged lah. Okay, even if you look at VS, it's bad. Even if you look at what was the other counter, Times is this one not so bad lah. I think there's nothing much to sell this one. Okay, if you look at PIE is not bad. Okay, mainly affected is VS and SK Press lah. Okay, I don't know what happened to these two counters that it started such a heavy selling when it actually had a lot of breakout potential. Okay, so if you look at SK Press chart, it's definitely at a 52-week low already, and doesn't seem like it wants to stop soon lah. Okay, selling volume is increasing. Okay, so if you want to look for the next support, I think it will be somewhere at 80 cents. Okay, which is the previous level during COVID. Okay, I don't know what is the fundamentals of the counter, whether it's doing better or does it have some business clients problems like just like Times previously with Dyson. I really don't know, but the chart is quite bad lah. Okay, EMCC, I think it's too soon to comment because there's not much data since it's a new IPO stock. But if you look on an hourly chart, I don't think there's a downtrend line formed, but if you look at the chart itself, it looks like a downtrend line, even though I can't really connect the trend lines lah. Okay, here it will have to break out from this level first before it actually confirms that it's turning the trend. Okay, if you look at this part, this will be maybe the low level. Okay, it may be the low. This volume is very good, very nice volume. This may be a new base lah before it actually attempts to rally higher. So if let's say it becomes something like this, forms one cup, and then this is a handle, so this will be your low, and then this will be your higher low lah. This will be your first high, and if it breaks out from here, then it will become a higher low. Higher high. Okay, but I think so far haven't formed yet lah. You need to give some patience to the stock. It's a new stock. Okay, it's an IPO stock this year only one. Okay, next counter, SysTech. SysTech, I think after the new owner took over, I think it was quite bullish lah. Okay, these 3 days of very high volume currently seems to be consolidating. Okay, so the volume of consolidating or pullback is actually quite nice lah. Okay, it's quite low, generally looks to be quite good. If it manages to, then this will definitely be its new support lah. Okay, but it's better for you to let the stock prove itself to you first. Okay, general market sentiment is not very bullish as well. Okay, so you can wait until the stock kind of forms a real support first lor. Okay, then only you monitor and see. Okay, the volume is low. That means there's not much sellers lah. There's more buyers than sellers over here, I guess. Okay, Olicorp. Okay, Olicorp has already reached a 52-week high lah. Okay, it's already 52 weeks high and seems to be doing quite well. But there are some candles which don't look so nice for me. One is this lah. Okay, even though it's going higher, but you can see that there's some form of high level selling over there. Okay, which is pushing the stock down back lah. Okay, so you need to be a bit cautious. Of course, actually it's pretty bullish. 50 days is above 150 and 150 is above 200 lah. So in that sense, it's actually bullish. But then considering the two candles over here, like kind of like a shooting star, you need to be a bit cautious lah. Okay, support and resistance wise, I think this is the resistance and most likely your support will be here lah. Okay, SAMCHEM. I think SAMCHEM was primed to actually get some contracts from the budget, but didn't. I think it was related to HSR or something like. Really not very sure. So I think there was no news about the HSI and stuff like that. Okay, so it didn't really continue going higher lah. Okay, kind of stayed there only. And so of course it gapped down and stuff like that lah. Okay, this selling volume over here is actually quite scary lah, to be honest. Even though it's actually a hammer, but that volume looks quite scary. Let's look at the 1 hour chart. Okay, there's high volume here and then another high volume the next thing, and it's not really on a very bullish candle. Okay, you see this one actually got very long wick above, so it doesn't look that good lah. Okay, yeah, for me it doesn't look that good lah. Again, construction counter, you need to depend whether the construction team is there or not lah. If it isn't, then whatever you do also, I don't think it will have any effect. Okay, it will really depend on the team. Okay, your support and resistance I think follows whatever there's already on the chart lah. Okay, Armada. This one kind of in sideways, waiting for the breakout lah. Okay, but of course this is the oil and gas counter, and it will very much depend on the oil prices. If the oil prices decide to continue going higher, then of course Armada as a counter which deals with the ONG will also continue going higher lah. Okay, if it doesn't, then of course it will come down lah. Okay, in terms of support and resistance, I think the resistance is about this quite a big zone lah, if you ask me. I think it's here until up here lah. Okay, in terms of that, in terms of support, I think it's quite confirmed here lah. Okay, in terms of trend line, I think it's quite intact. I think it's still in an uptrend. But of course, again, whether it performs or not will very much depend on the oil prices. Okay, Volcano. This will be Volcano's resistance for sure. Okay, it looks more like it's forming a rounding bottom lah, or maybe a terbalik punya cup and handle. Okay, your support will definitely be somewhere here. Okay, and then this will be your breakout level lah, 955. Okay, other than that, I think it's quite hard to read Volcano because the stock itself is quite volatile. There's basically almost no trading volume on Friday. The trading volume actually comes and goes lah. Okay, your support and resistance is here. Your moving averages are actually a bit confused. Okay, 50 days is moving down, 150 days is still up, and 200 days is definitely moving up. But if you notice, your 150 days trend is actually flattening lah. Okay, which is not a good sight to see. Okay, I think the sell down over here was a bit too drastic already. Okay, TAS, I had this as one of my case studies, and okay lah, it failed. Okay, so like I said, they are all just case studies lah. Okay, just to just to see whether it works or not, whether it happens or not, okay, based on whatever that I studied. Okay, so you see TAS, I think after the quarter report came out, it just trimmed some losses and then it started it gapped down okay. I think the resistance remains the same. This one actually I thought would become a new support, but unfortunately it decided to gap down and go lower. The gap down volume is also quite high, so I think it's quite real okay. This one is quite authentic. You will need to be a bit more cautious okay, and it actually closed below the previous support level, which is not something good to have. Okay, and the last stock, T7 Global. I think this one is oil and gas related, but there's nothing much for me to comment because it's generally just sideways only. There's nothing much in the stock to see. Okay, from I think the previous time I reviewed until now, it's still hovering around the area, and the volume is kind of drying up, so I don't think there's anyone like interested in the stock okay. Okay, so that concludes my chart review for this week. I hope the chart reviews help you understand the charts better in one way or another. Of course, disclaimer before I end the video, this is just a chart review, and it is done as for educational purpose only. Okay, none of it should be considered as a buy or sell call. If you require a buy or sell call, please look for your licensed remiser or your licensed financial advisor. Okay, this entire video is just for educational purpose and should not be considered as a buy or sell call. Market commentary, generally all indexes are not doing well. Bursa index is actually not bad considering how bad the Nasdaq, Hang Seng and also China indexes are doing, but I think eventually all indexes will move in tandem. Okay, so I believe the stock market may go through a correction because of if you look at the economic views around the war, the possibility of a recession, and then the inflation levels, I think most likely economic news are not that good okay. US 10-year yields are actually going higher and higher. Gold is actually going higher and higher, and usually when gold goes higher is either for war or also because of inflation. So I think generally market is not in a very bullish manner okay. And when market is not bullish manner, of course being defensive is always the best okay. So that will be all for my chart review this week, and I hope to see you again next week. Okay, that's all. Thank you. Bye bye.
If you liked this video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more videos.